Gonna go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it. That's just a heck of a play.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it. That's just a heck of a play.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
All right, we are live. A little bit later than we thought. A little bit of technical difficulties. We're just getting this shared out here. I think we're on episode 92. Kind of got thrown off there, but episode 92. Boys are all back. I missed Monday. I know you guys had Gino on. How did things go with him? He's got a big fight this weekend, right?
Yeah, he's got a big fight coming up in Niagara Falls, so obviously we're pulling for him to come back with a W. Because, some of our guests haven't had the best of luck, and the first time he came on the show, we found out that day his fight was getting pulled, so someone's going to break the curse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's happened last time he came on, so.
Well, we had Lane on, and then he broke the curse a little bit. So, I mean, there's lots of curse breaking going on. We expect Lane and the boys to get the Cricket Bowl. We're definitely going to dig a little bit deeper into that game and what happened down in Jackson, because obviously there's a big story brewing down there, and it's about 150 million reasons why we should talk about it. Definitely going to talk on this Urban Meyer thing and break down a little bit about what's going on for this week football coming up. It looks like Kalen's got a little bit of chirping in the background there, which makes sense because the Titans haven't beaten the Steelers in years, so I could see why he would be very braggadocious about this.
Steelers suck week, baby. Steelers suck week.
Okay, hey. Well, you guys are worrying about your stuff, and I know Mike Vrabel's playing Renegade at practice. The Steelers are actually just practicing. I don't know. They're just performing the game plan. I already told you, Big Ben's got a big week ahead of him. He's going to move up to 5th all-time in passing. But the game at hand right now is the Chiefs and the Chargers. Mm-hmm. And there is a ton to talk about with the Chiefs and the Chargers. Thursday Night Football. Definitely make sure that you head over to our friends at CoolBet. Get yourself a little bet builder. You can make a single game bet, whatever you want to do, but that's where the best odds are. That's how we make ours. We do have a couple of bets to share with you as we get a little bit further into it. But how are we feeling about tonight's game, boys?
Fence. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think so, eh?
Over.
Everybody hammer the over.
I'm excited for it, man. You said it right there, nailed it in the head. Like, the offense in this game is going to be super fun to watch, but I mean, the Chiefs defense does have something to prove here still. I know I keep chirping on them a little bit and saying they've turned the corner or almost turned that corner, but this could be that game. You guys know that I hype up division games, so that gets the excitement in me going. It's very important for the Chargers to get a W right now in that AFC race. So this is going to be a fun game to watch, man. I love Herbert too, through and through. So it's nice that they're on the West Coast. They don't have to worry about them affecting us because we've already run through that team right now. So we're good.
Right. Well, I'm on the Chiefs. I don't know if you guys know this. I heard this stat just before I came on. Patrick Mahomes hasn't lost to an AFC West opponent on the road in his career. 11-0.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It's not bad at all.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, well, all right. Well, why don't we just go ahead and throw together a little bet booster? We either shared it with Chad a little bit there. So, obviously, we got the Chiefs on the money line. Chad called it earlier. We said that this is going to be all offense, so we're going the game over 50.5 points. Both quarterbacks to throw for 300 yards or more. Herbert to have 14 rushing yards, and Mahomes to have 10 rushing yards or more. and that's going to pay out at plus 1,200. So let's
Ooh, that's
go
sneaky
throw
good,
20
I
bucks
think.
on that thing, and
Yeah.
I'll pay for dinner this weekend.
Yeah, that's a good bet, man. You're enticing me over here, actually.
Yeah, we one of these days, Kalen, we are going to get you a cool bet account, and we are going to get you on this thing. I I know that it's not because you're against it, and there's just work stuff related, but we'll get you on there one day.
You got it, man.
One day. Anyway, we'll get back to Thursday Night Football because there was a couple other things. Definitely, I'm sure you guys broke down the Rams and the Cardinals on Monday. I watched a little bit of the show. It was awesome. We were doing a little thing at work, but even bigger loss to the Cardinals as far as losing that game maybe doesn't kill them because they're still kind of in control there. But losing Hopkins for the next 6 weeks, I think that one's going to hurt.
Sorry to cut you off. I don't know who Kyle Campbell is, but that guy's delusional. He just said the Leafs are going to win the cup. First off, we're talking about the NFL. Number two, the Leafs fucking suck and they'll never win the Stanley Cup. So, sorry, Kyle. Thanks for making a comment. I appreciate the love, but you're wrong.
Yeah, they are first in the league right now. It's crazy. They do got some games in hand though. Then back to this Arizona game. DeAndre. I mean, they're very fortunate that they have built the lead that they have. Got the wins that they have under their belt because DeAndre Hopkins is a very pivotal player to that team. AJ Green, I know you guys gave me some shit for early in the year when I said they had a good trio there in Christian Kirk and AJ Green, but they both do. They're both good players still. I don't know how much slack they can pick up from DeAndre because he's certainly, Chad always talks about ones. He's a one, right? He's certainly a one. Yeah. He gets away with a lot of push-offs still. I remember seeing that in the Texans years. But again, Arizona's built their lead here. The division, I don't think, is going to be really at risk. What's more important, though, is how much does he come back in the playoffs, right? Like, this is a knee injury. Like, this is a wide receiver that cuts. This is in the I guess the one thing I was saying earlier is to a friend is that the West Coast play or the NFC playoffs seems to be all in warm areas outside of Green Bay. So as long as he doesn't have to plant himself in Green Bay, I think he may be okay. But you get to go to the cold weather with a knee injury, man. That's going to be tough.
Well, here's the thing. Before you keep going, the reason we gave you shit about AJ Green is because you said he's better than Antonio Brown, and we need to make sure that everyone's aware that that's untrue.
It's because
that's what you said. That's what you said.
Over the trio in Tampa, and I said there's another trio to talk about in Arizona too. That's all I said.
Yeah. Okay. And we know who the better one was. But
where's Antonio? What's he been doing?
Resting out for the playoffs.
He's trying to get his elimination machine a little bit more legit. No, he's trying to get his elimination machine a little bit more legit so that they don't call him out again. But Chad, how are we feeling? You lose wide receiver one. Some teams in our league, they might even be fans on this show. They're not even used to having a receiver one at all, and they find ways to win. But how does Arizona find a way to win with a Tennessee Titans style roster?
Can I tell you about the double whammy with this whole Nuck thing on Monday? I lost my bet builder by 1 yard.
Slap in the face, man. This is what I'm talking about.
It was 54.5 and over, and he got 54 yards. And then he drew it for the jump ball of the end zone, and they didn't come back out, and they didn't say that he was injured. Man, I was calling him the worst names. I said he was selfish and he was lazy. And how do you take yourself out of a game that has that much meaning? And then I found out afterwards he could be out for the year. I was like, I kind of jumped the gun.
Yeah, he found out that his knee was hanging by a string.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the actual question. It's going to be tough. I think the most important thing for them is they actually just need him on the field. He doesn't have to be receiver one. He can be receiver 4 on the fucking progression. You put him on the field, he's going to draw attention. And yeah, can AJ Green still play? Good enough. But is AJ Green going to beat a double team? No.
No.
Is Christian Kirk going to beat a double team? No.
Such haters.
Stop it.
Look, we like AJ Green. We have no problem with AJ Green. It's the fact that you thought he was the same caliber as Antonio Brown was the part where we.
I don't think Antonio Brown could beat a double team anymore. So, he can even fucking get a piece of paper with his name on it done right. So, let alone beat a double team.
Yeah, come on, Tony Toe Touch.
But yeah, no. I think the big thing for them is what is working is the rebirth of James Conner.
Oh, what a beaut.
Oh, come on. Don't call him a beaut. You were giving him shit so much when he was off the Steelers. Oh, so excited that he was gone. You didn't have to deal with him because Harris was going to replace him, and you were done with that crap.
Yeah.
Come on, don't call him a beaut.
Harris has more yards this year than James Conner did probably the last 2 years. We'll
That's
start
not the comparison.
Now,
I'm just saying, don't call him a beaut.
Now,
as soon as he left your team, you were done with him and happy.
Yeah, I had no problem with him leaving because they're not going to pay him that kind of money. But have you seen the size of that guy beside Kyler Murray? Like, I didn't realize how big he was beside Ben Roethlisberger in the shotgun. But you put him beside Kyler Murray, like, yeah, which one of these guys would we rather tackle? Okay, yeah, we might as well tackle Kyler if we can catch him.
Yeah.
But James Conner, the guy's got 14 touchdowns, right?
And in his touchdowns,
I think he had 8 catches last week too.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And his touchdowns aren't just like goal line smash-ins. Like, there's certainly a couple of those, but like he's had some really hard fought. He starts getting tackled at the 7 and pushes his way through to get past the goal line. He's playing like a man possessed. He's obviously got something to prove, right? I think part of that is being left by the Steelers. I mean, you're a running back that gets left away. Like the Steelers, they pride themselves on running backs, so I think that he does have a bit of a chip there, and he's going to be doing all right.
Yeah, I think he's more of like like a really big slot receiver. Like he's not really like an every down running back. Even if you check most of his touchdowns, like the decent touchdowns are all catches. But anyway, it's not the James Conner show. Definitely a shout out to him because that guy's beat a lot and Pittsburgh Steeler for 4 years. But yeah, I do think that the Cardinals are in trouble, and I think because of this, and you kind of referenced it earlier, I think that this opens up the door and puts the entire NFC in trouble with the Packers playing the way that they are. If the Packers can take control over home field, that puts, would you rather play Arizona in the Dome or Green Bay on Lambeau?
No interest in Lambeau at all.
Right. And right now, I would say that's where I put my favorite. And I told Chad before we came on here, I went and sprinkled a little dough on Aaron Rodgers to win the MVP here. He's at plus 600 right now, so why not?
Jeez. So what's the Tom Brady at right now? Plus 150 or something like that?
He's a minus. Yeah.
Or minus,
or was he plus?
Yeah, he's a
minus.
It's 137, I believe. It was minus 137. Now it's gone up to a plus because of how well Aaron Rodgers is playing.
Well, anybody that's curious, we're going to have to just go check out Chad's article. You're dropping your article tomorrow, right?
No, it's Kalen's that's going to go up with the MVP.
Oh, Kalen's doing MVP?
Yeah.
Yeah, I added the comeback player.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right. Well, whenever Kalen gets around to it, he'll put up his MVP one.
What do you mean? It's up. Chad's got
It's
it.
done.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay. Hey.
Teacher Shane checking on
This guy takes one show off, and he's like, these kids didn't do their homework.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta make sure. Gotta make sure the boys are all in line here. I know the guy behind the camera that isn't even on here. He's got something dropping on Monday for all those Formula One racing fans and haters of Netflix, apparently. I'm interested to read that one. He sent it to me. I'm gonna get a sneak peek on that right after we're done the show here. But anything else to worry about with the Cardinals here as far as obviously they won a couple games with Colt McCoy and without Hopkins anyway, so it's not necessarily that they're done without him. But did you see a couple flaws against the Rams, or is the door back open for the Rams? And are you guys agreeing with me that the Packers? It's basically the Packers or the Bucks, right?
Yeah, I think it should be the Packers or the Bucks. That's how it's going to be. And those are the two teams that I think run the ball the best too in the NFC.
Mm-hmm. And like as far as like the flaws that you saw in Arizona, like their offensive line looked bad, but let's remember they're still going against Aaron Donald too. They had Leonard Floyd, they got Von Miller. That's a really good defensive line that's had a few weeks to gel too at the same time.
Yeah.
Where I think like their biggest worry right now is their secondary. They claimed off the practice squad from the Titans, Breon Borders, who's been there for 2 years, and I personally do love Breon. When they call him up, he plays really, really hard. I think he's gonna get the opportunity to play over there in Arizona. So you're picking players off a practice squad at a corner position. That goes to show you're thin. And he's not a special teams player, so they're not calling him over or picking him up to go over there and run punt or gunner or something like that. So that's my worry for Arizona, because there's a lot of teams in the NFC right now that can dot teams up, and if your secondary is going to be weak, and theirs has been, that can be trouble for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, I know Chad's not either. I'm not off of the Cardinals. I mean, Chad's been on the Cardinals for 2 years, so there's no way
I
he's
can't
off.
turn my back
I'm
now.
not. Yeah, I'm not going to count them out, but at this point, it just seems like they're going in the wrong direction at the wrong time. So now, another team that's not going in that direction, the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are basically they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl right now. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
No, really?
That's officially they're the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl. Now, somehow, even with them being the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl, the most likely Super Bowl is Tampa Bay and New England. So I don't really understand how they're putting this one together. But anyway, I mean, but the Chiefs got the Chargers tonight. As I said before, the Chargers have, I don't know, they played pretty well against the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes has not lost to an AFC team on the road or AFC West team on the road in his career. But Justin Herbert also hasn't thrown an interception against the Chiefs in his 3 games. So which one of those things is more likely to change tonight?
Well,
I think Justin Herbert threw an interception.
yeah.
That Chiefs defense is taking chances again. It's almost like they're playing so safe to like just win a battle. Win that battle. We just got to stop guys in front of us, opposed to like going after the football. And I think that's been a big difference. They're getting pressure on the quarterback, which also helps. But you can take chances on the football. But yeah, no, I think Justin Herbert would be throwing a pick. I don't see the Chiefs losing tonight. They're just fucking rolling right now. They're a scary, scary team.
Yeah. A lot of dudes out on defense on both sides, but I mean, for the Chiefs, it's kind of scary to think that Chris Jones isn't playing, Willie Gay's not playing, Les Snead's not playing. That might dick up their ability for pass yard or for passing downs. I was listening to the NFL radio or on my way home from work, and they were talking about Melvin Ingram and how he's going to be a big difference maker. But I mean, the guy's only playing 30% of the snaps on defense this year, so I don't imagine that they're going to be able to ramp him up. There's a reason that he was given up for a 6th round pick and nothing, basically, right? So
I just love trashing
I'm not
on the guys who leave.
Yeah, I'm not disrespecting the guy. I mean, whatever, but like you're 31 years old, you got traded for a 6th round pick in season to a contender. And you were a contender also. So kind of shows you what they thought of him, I guess.
That contender line was used pretty lightly there on that second half, wasn't it? But no, listen, we're
half
the Chiefs.
game out of the playoffs currently.
Yeah, it's not the Chiefs. Sorry, we're the Chargers. Talking about issues. I just Keenan Allen. Is he playing tonight? What's going on with him? I don't know if that was announced.
I believe that he's off the vid list. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got okay.
He's back.
So now you got Eckler though, who's like, I've heard multiple times that many people around the league refer to him as like the pound for pound toughest little man in the league kind of thing. So, and he's got that high ankle sprain, or not high ankle, but like an ankle.
He's active.
He's active, yeah, but he's an integral part of their offense, right? He's able to take a lot of pressure off of Herbert. So now, if he's not going to be able to give you 100%, are you going to have to throw those shots downfield more at the wide receivers? That's going to open up the opportunities for more interceptions. Then you can't be taking those little dump off screens or swing passes to Eckler anymore, right?
Yeah, this one honestly, Kalen, this might turn into a me and you show because Hulkamania over there is telling everyone to take their vitamins, and I think I think this one might take a turn for the worse in a second. But yeah. Well, I think there's going to be lots of passing yards. I think that you're right. I think both teams' secondaries are banged up right now and clearly not playing. Generally, in a situation like this, you want to favor the home team on Thursday Night Football. But Chiefs have been playing well. My money rolls with the Chiefs, and, I mean, that's kind of what we were saying earlier. So,
yeah.
Chad, got any Thursday night insights?
No, man. No, I just think the Chiefs are going to do their thing. I think they're going to roll right over the Chargers. Actually,
roll. It's not going to be close. You think?
I would say double. I think it's going to be double digits.
Wow. Okay. Which is, I mean, that in today's NFL, that could be considered rolling for sure.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a possibility for like 70 points to get scored in this game tonight. Now, a game that there's not going to be 70 points scored. It's probably one that's a little bit close to Kalen and close to me. We got the Titans and the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I messaged you yesterday or 2 days ago, Kalen, the Titans were favored by 1.5 on the road in Pittsburgh. I thought that was a little bit disrespectful. I thought that we should give them a couple more points. I thought that Vegas would have a little bit more faith in Vrabel on the road. But since then, the line has actually flipped. So now it's actually the Steelers are favored by a point, man.
It's
So-
flipped again on you, my man. It's -2
Look.
right now for the Titans.
Well, hey, I'm basing mine fully on CoolBet, and CoolBet is the only place I get my odds from. I don't get mine from the Titans Reddit stream.
You said Vegas.
and-
You just said Vegas.
Well, Vegas sets the odds, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they're out there trying to take people's money. I think honestly, I think it's a teaser line. At this point, based on the way that the money's rolling in, it looks like a pick'em game.
Mhm.
I don't know what the health status of the Titans is, so maybe you can fill us in on that a little bit. But I could tell you that you might get one of the healthier Steelers teams that they've had in a few weeks anyway.
Well, you still won't have AJ to play again, so you will have Julio. He's back and he's playing. He's starting to ramp up. They're still limiting his snaps. You're not going to see a full game out of him, most likely, unfortunately.
Is Christian Fulton playing?
He certainly is. You got a pick last week. Thanks for bringing him up. Appreciate that. He's a hell of a player, man. I got him. I love him. Bud Dupree activated off the IR, so he has the chance to be elevated to the game day squad. Hopefully he does. I would love to see the guy get the chance to play against his former squad. He's had the few weeks off now, plus the bye week. So hopefully we get to see a full, healthy Bud Dupree, a year and more removed from surgery. So outside of that, I mean, it's just AJ really that's missing at this point. That's like integral to our team. Roger Saffold hasn't practiced all week, but that's fine. Aaron Brewer just filled in his role pretty well at left guard or right guard when asked to. So,
what about Tannehill? I mean, any injury concerns? I heard he was a little bit banged up.
well, he's still taking shots. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about being banged up or anything like that, but he's certainly taking shots, and you've seen it in his footwork this year where he's thrown some high passes. He's let some balls leak that definitely could have sealed the game early. Or turn the game around like what happened in the loss against the Jets there. So I have no concerns with Tannehill. I just think that unfortunately he can't get to his third or fourth progression because some of my favorite players are not playing very well in the offensive line. Taylor Lewan doesn't seem to want to play football until the third quarter. He seems to get embarrassed the first half or maybe have flashes of being a good tackle in the first half and then disappears for a while. So, and then I just mentioned Saffold. I mean, you watch the game this week there, Shane. If he plays, he'll probably go down 2 to 3 times in the game. Always comes back, but he goes down and misses between 5 to 7 plays. He's got this pinched nerve in his shoulder. He finally admitted what was going on this week. Apparently, when he gets hit,
What are your thoughts on TJ Watt treating Ryan Tannehill like a prom date?
So here's the thing, though. He hasn't practiced. So he was limited practice all week up until even today. I believe he was limited, right? So he's got tomorrow's
TJ
practice.
Watt?
Yeah, he was limited
TJ
yesterday.
Watt went full. No, he went full today.
He was full. Okay. So he's got today and tomorrow to go full. He's going to be going against Quisenberry, who has not played very well in the past game right now. So, man, the game is going to get schemed. It's not about Tannehill. It's about Vrabel and how is he going to scheme the game properly. And I'm not worried about how this game goes down. I think that if there's a coach that I think Vrabel would enjoy beating, I think that it would be somebody like Mike Tomlin. So I have no worries about TJ. We'll just run away from him. Well, what that means is because Mike Tomlin's a great coach. He's a well-respected coach. He's certainly respected around his peers. If you beat somebody like Vrabel, I mean, as you mentioned, the last game that we played against you guys, Vrabel was coach. We lost. The game before that, it wasn't Vrabel, but it'd be nice for us to turn the page finally. And that's a team that Vrabel would certainly like to beat and a coach that he can, hang his hat on. Finally got one on him.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm not telling that like last year, I told you this was a slam dunk. I'm not telling you it's a slam dunk this year, but as I mentioned, you're getting the healthier version of Pittsburgh, healthier than the team was last week and the week before that. So you're probably going to see Joe Hayden back, and you're definitely going to see TJ Watt back. But
well, are you excited to see Zach Cunningham play? I didn't get the chance to talk to you about that yet since we picked him up. I mean, he's the leading tackle in the NFL last year. That's going to be huge for us this year, this week, specifically against you guys and how you want to play offense. I mean, that's design. We need him in a game like this.
Yeah. I don't know. I would anticipate the way that the Steelers have been running their offenses. They're running it to try and open up the throw, but at this point, I think that they're going to try and throw to open up the run. and probably try and take some of your guys out of the box there. But I mean, if we're looking for football schematics, like Chad's probably the guy to talk to.
Man, I just like you guys just didn't shut the fuck up.
So,
The right when I saw this on the rundown, I was like, "This is gonna be the longest 20 minutes of my life," because neither of you are gonna be wrong.
did we say any
I don't-
bad
yeah.
points, Chad?
I didn't say no, but I'm saying you'll never let the other person be right about what you're saying. That's what I should say.
No,
Because you're both homers and
only
you're
thing
both
that I
sticking up for
said-
your team.
only thing that I said is that TJ Watt was going to take Ryan Tannehill and treat him like a prom date. I think that's a fact.
Well, we
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Allegedly.
Yeah. So whatever. I mean, we'll see how the game plays out. I mean, look, a bad O line against a team that doesn't have a pass rush. We'll see what happens. Ben Roethlisberger. The only certainty that I have is Ben Roethlisberger is going to pass Phillip Rivers in the all-time passing yards and move into fifth. And the four guys ahead of him, all Hall of Famers, probably four of the best quarterbacks that have ever touched football. So, pretty big company for him to be a part of.
Now, who doesn't have a pass rush though? I'm just kidding. We'll talk about that later, Shane, you and I.
Good. Just stop. Yeah. Let's go on to a little bit of breaking down some of these games that are coming up here because, one that was looking pretty good on paper until a couple no swaps went by was this Browns and Raiders game, and it really seems like Baker Mayfield has some strong feelings as far as getting this game postponed, mostly because he's a little bitch. But
But like, what does he
Nick
mean
Mull-
though? What did he mean by the tweet?
He meant that
Right.
he can't play, and if he doesn't get his own way, then he's a spoiled little bitch. So he's gonna whine about it.
Do you know the tweet I'm referring to though? Like, what did he mean by like some team didn't have to show up for the testing in order for like the prime time to play? Like, is that what happened with this game right now? I don't even know what he was referring to. That's that was one of the things he tweeted out was like NFL figure your shit out because why are some teams not having to show up for their test in order to get your primetime games to be played out? I don't know what he was referring to. I tried to find it quickly, but I couldn't find it, unfortunately.
Nah, Baker Mayfield's a bitch, man. Like the guy is just you tested. Get the fuck off the field. Your backup quarterback tested. Get the fuck
Case
off the field.
Keenum
Your
tested
practice squad
too.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
at
what does
this
that mean
point,
for them?
Nick Mullins
Nick
Mullins is going to start at quarterback.
Wow.
You still got your run game, which means you probably don't have to call any stupid fucking passing plays because you don't want your quarterback throwing either way, whether it's Baker Mayfield or Nick Mullins. So you're just going to be running the ball. So it's going to be a lot of Nick Chubb. It's going to be a lot of Dearness Johnson. And honestly, I went and hammered the Raiders because why wouldn't you at this point? The spread hasn't caught up to all the inactive players, and I don't know, call it betting with your heart a little bit, but I wouldn't mind if the Browns lost another one.
Ricky would take a nice win.
Yeah,
But they deserve it.
It's been a while, right? Arnett got signed off that team too. Man, the Raiders. You actually like are we playing? So how many players are on the Browns that have been listed now on defense? That's what's important in this game because I think their offense is going to be okay with the running game they've got there.
Yeah. Well, it looks like honestly, there's two offensive linemen that are down, and then I haven't seen any big name defensive players or nobody that stood out to me.
Okay,
But it's hard to say. But what's going to happen is, Stefanski's not going to be there either. So whoever's their OC is
isn't he hit too though? Isn't the OC and the DC hit too? I don't even know for sure.
I don't know, man. Like,
I know there was more than one coach, and I know Stefanski was one of them, but I know there was more than one coach that got tagged.
What I'm saying is Stefanski and Baker need to get their shit together because this is the second time they pop. So like, pull it together, boys. Let's figure this thing out. But I don't know. The last time Stefanski popped, it was a playoff game, and they played better without him. What are you gonna say? But I do have a feeling that this is gonna come down to a couple of Nick Mullen turnovers deep in the Browns territory, which is going to lead to some quick scores for the Raiders, which is probably going to be the difference in the game.
Oh, there's no Cinderella story here for you, eh?
No. They only make one Kurt Warner movie. There's no sequel.
Tough breaks, man. Tough breaks.
Yeah.
What do we got? Like 125 or 135 players in the league now. This is going to be a messed up week. My fantasy team is destroyed. I don't know about you guys, but my fantasy team's going.
Don't
through
even
the ringer.
talk about fantasy football.
So that gives me my answer then, I guess, eh?
I think Chad's the only one out of us that didn't make the playoffs in the Going for Two league, right? You didn't make the
Liam
playoffs
didn't do
either?
Oh, woof.
Even with having that picture of me as your I don't know, man. That moose knuckle in that picture was looking pretty nice. So you just maybe blow that thing up and get it laminated for you.
I'm good. No, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Not a whole lot more to talk about that. That's a Saturday game. Saturday primetime game. You're looking at the Colts and the Patriots, which a few weeks ago, well, I guess maybe 5 weeks ago, you'd think what a fucking boring game, but at this point, you're looking at two of the hottest teams in football right now. For some reason, I'm trying to outsmart myself in this bet and trying to convince myself that betting on the Colts is the right play here. So I need someone to talk me out of this because I don't know why I continue to bet against Bill Belichick or Nick Saban. It doesn't make any sense. I just keep thinking like it has to end at some point.
Has to be today.
But it's not. I don't know. I don't think it is. But that being said, I already bet on the Colts. But talk me out of it.
I'm actually going to say I would have bet on the Colts only because of I think the Pats, like, they had their big game last week. They went up and beat the Bills. And I know Bill Belichick will never let them have like a trap game, but you've had a long week. You've had 10 days off too, right? So it's a big layoff from that as well. So that'd be my concern. And the Colts are and do like if the Pats lose, they still have a game. They'll be okay. The Colts are pretty much playing. They have to win out to get in.
Well, they're going to get a little bit of help this week. So
the run game. Now, Carson Wentz said today he has no worries about going up to New England and running the ball and doing well. I love Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if that's going to work out well. Defensively, the Patriots are just too good. It doesn't matter what year it is, when it is. Defense is always going to be okay. It's the offense that always needs to be lifted up a little bit. And this year, they're doing more than enough to be competitive. I read a really good soundbite today from Aqib Talib talking about when he played for the Patriots. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there's multiple players actually that was in this soundbite that talked about how he does not yell at practice. He never yells at anybody. The expectation is you show up, you know your shit, and you do your job. And he says the animation you see on the sidelines when he freaks out and if he ever raises his voice at the players know. It's just like that dad yelling at them. It's like, I didn't show up and do my shit. And there's a reason I'm getting put in my place right now. So I continue to think that at this point, you've got a quarterback who is completely bought into the system and is playing better than we thought he was going to play. He's got those tight ends around him that he hasn't even had to utilize really this year so far. He's going to begin to do that at some point. Josh McDaniels is going to do that. So I have no worries in saying that New England is probably going to roll through Indianapolis this week and continue to keep catching steam. As much as I would love to say the Titans get that number one spot, I think that unfortunately the Pats are going to take it in the AFC.
over under pass attempts for Mac Jones. What do you think? 5? You think it's over under 5? Or does it get back to just a run?
Man, did they go out and did they throw 65 and then just not even run the ball at all?
No way.
just
no way.
Well,
Not
they
a
have to
chance.
make up. They had to make up. They asked Josh McDaniels last week or the first practice of this week. You know what's going to be different going into this week, and they said, "Well, Mac's probably got no film session, so they got to get him some, right?"
Yeah.
Chad, you've called plays, so I mean, you come out of a game like that. Do you change anything? I mean, if that was what worked,
I don't think they showed anything, so I don't think they have to change
Right.
anything. Just
right.
you still have your full playbook there. You just chose to only use 10% of it in Buffalo.
Right.
So yeah, like you just continue, like every week you're adding new things in anyways. It was almost like, given the way you ran the ball, you didn't have to install nothing else the rest of the week. You had 2 weeks of like to prep for the next game.
Right. It's the equivalent to like, I don't know, like evening sex during a weekday. Like you mailed it in. You did what you need to do. You could save the good stuff for Saturday.
Wow, that was an analogy out of left field. I enjoyed it though. It was really good. I will
Look,
save that
save
for
the
another
good
time.
save the good stuff, eh, Chad?
Yeah, that's what the hotels are for.
Yeah. Oh, we don't even have time for that kind of stuff. All right, Bengals Broncos. I think to the casual football fan, we'd probably be looking at not as great of a game, but I think to the hardcore football fans such as us and maybe the people that are viewing the show, I think that we realize that Denver's defense is a little bit better than we give them credit for, especially at home. You have the Bengals coming off of a pretty disappointing loss and a pretty disappointing season all around. And
You're so
and
ruthless with the AFC North, man.
no, I know. And when it really comes down to it, this is going to make or break the Joe Burrow era for this year, at least. If
Wow.
they can't go up to Mile High and take down the Broncos, they're not out of contention by any means. But that is going to take such a huge shock to the system that I'm not sure that they can recover from and get back onto the role that you want them to be on. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
I get what you're here. I hear what you're saying over there, Shane. I don't quite follow it. Denver's defense is better than we might have thought they were, especially when they got Bradley Chubb back into the lineup. That certainly helped them. Their offense is still not very good, and they got a Melvin Gordon who's kind of banged up now too, who's been a pretty pivotal player on their team right now.
He
They
banged in
haven't.
2 touchdowns last week.
He did. I got him a fantasy.
Yeah.
I know, but he's hurt. He's got a hurt injury too. He's got something to do with his hand or something like that. So I mean, that's never good when a running back has a hand injury. The Bengals, man, I don't know what it is about it. Maybe I just enjoy watching them because they're going to take those shots downfield. But I mentioned to Chad, I mean, I know that you didn't probably watch the show or watch the game or whatever, but Chase, he's dropped the ball a few times there in pivotal spots where, you know, I've mentioned him in the past about potentially offensive rookie of the year or whatever, and you know, dropping balls when it matters. That's not good for anybody if you're trying to get that kind of title.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I thought we were just gonna keep plugging away as if we didn't even see Chad take it to disappear there.
No, I think Chad's phone might have died or something.
Okay.
So we'll let him go take a little nap. Yeah, my betting heart is telling me that I should take the Broncos. At home, they've been much better. Teddy Bridgewater's playing for a contract. Apparently, he's already turned down a $25 million extension from the Broncos for next year. I can't imagine that being true, but you know, like the rumors are always out there floating around. Whatever. I can't buy into the Bengals, man. I've seen it too many times. They're always there. They always get to where they're supposed to be, and then they fall apart. So I'm not sure that I'm actually gonna pick anything in this game, but if I were, I'd be leaning towards the Broncos at home, probably in like a close one, maybe a relatively low scoring game, and that's something
That game to me is a pure prop game. You go in there and just have some fun laying down, you know, over under on yards and shit like that, and longest field goals and stuff, man. That's pretty much the fun that I have with that game. I don't think I could touch that one money line as much as I do love the Bengals. That's a too difficult choice. They have a lot of, we've talked about the home field advantage that Denver has. And I don't know, you know, Joe, I don't think he ever visited Mile High, man. You know, he's from like, you know, sea level kind of stuff, right? Hanging out of the Mississippi. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't.
Talking
I
about
don't
shock
know
to the system.
if he would ever have played in at Colorado or something like that, but it's unlikely. And the bigger problem, and you just said it, like you said it in your prop bets, is if you were to rely on one of those kickers, is it going to be McManus or McPherson? And McManus is the guy. Like that guy launches balls. You know, he's coming from a long line of great Denver kickers, and I do think it's going to come down to a field goal, and that's why I think the Broncos. But
now, before we move on, you're talking about home field advantage there. I'm going to a different team right now. I was going to bring up the Washington football team. Have you been paying attention to anything there that happened recently with their game against the Cowboys and how the boys had their seats flown in? Did you see that?
Yeah.
So did you hear what that was about?
Some opposing owner said that the heating system wasn't very good in Washington.
Seattle. Yeah, Seattle owner
okay.
let the Dallas know that their heating units kept going out on the seats, so they're just sitting in cold, wet shit. So yeah, the Dallas flies. So you know what I found odd about that, now that we're talking about Denver and the home field advantage and everything, is these owners are willing to call another team and let them give them the heads up to like have a competitive advantage or at least a competitive equalism, I guess, against Washington. Why would the teams not to get together and build their own practice facility in Denver where you can fly in and stay at a hotel maybe 3 or 4 days early just in those games, right? Why would they
Well,
get 31 other teams that could do that to team up and make a really good practice facility? I don't know if you get the zoning rights if Denver would let you have it, but
hey, that's not a bad idea. I mean, I'm sure you could find something equivalent, like take the boys down to Mexico on the bye week or something. Mexico City's pretty high, so
well, that's what Oakland, Vegas was trying to do that, having them fun in Mexico City, right?
yeah. Well, that'd be interesting, but yeah, let's let that one play out. This is the game I want to chat on here for, but he just couldn't quite make it. His sleeping pills kicked in. The Bucks and the Saints. It just this is the one that Tom Brady gets over, right? Like this.
Finally,
I
is that what
believe
happens?
I believe that he has not beaten the Saints since joining the Bucks. Right? Is that correct?
I don't think he has, and he's been all his interceptions are essentially against the Saints too, right?
Right, right. And you know, look, man, like it's Taysom Hill, and I get
Mhm.
Taysom Hill can run around, and
Mhm.
the Bucks defense isn't as scary as last year, or at least perceived not as scary as last year. This is the Brady game. Brady and the Bucks are gonna roll the Saints, and it might not even be close. I'm gonna say like 38, like 17, maybe.
Okay. Well, I mean, part of that, I think, is remember that one of the, I mean, Marshawn Lattimore, we've talked about before, he has his best games against Brady, too. He seems to cover Mike Evans extremely well. Mike never seems to, the last game, he kind of got a few on him. But I think it's another one of those where like Lattimore's got a break here. Like Evans, like there's just too much on offense in Tampa that he can't contain that guy every game, all game now. You got to be covering too many people. I think there's just too many things that can get exposed on the Saints defense at this point, and they're going to be asked to play a lot of snaps. I think because as you mentioned, Taysom Hill playing, they're not going to get a lot of first downs. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that this one's going to be a one-sided Bucks affair, and it's time for them to get off the snide against if there's ever a team or a guy that doesn't like losing to a team repeatedly, it'd be a guy like Brady, and that's a guy that you can get behind. So
Well, and
I'm
he's
done
like,
betting against Belichick. I'm done betting against Saban, and I'm done betting against Brady. That's
but and
that's
he's
my
vying
New
for that
Year's
MVP,
resolutions.
right? He wants that MVP
Yeah,
trophy. You know he does. And if he can finally get over this team, that starts that storyline even harder, right? And that's unfortunately the list late in the season. Some of these awards are really won by storylines. They're not always won by what's actually happening on the field, right?
right,
Coach of the
and I
year is
agree, and
usually
that's
it. Always, it's a storyline win.
yeah, yeah. Like I do think that this MVP race is going to come down to the fact that the Bucks are going to start running the ball as they have. They're going to continue to run the ball. Fournette's going to eat up a lot of touchdowns. Brady's not going to need to do as many things as he's capable of doing, and Aaron Rodgers still has to do Aaron Rodgers things for the Packers to be what they are. So I do believe, and that's why I sprinkled on it. That's why I do believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the MVP again. But we'll see how that goes. We're going to go on to the Packers and another MVP that has been. I don't know if he's been ruled out for this game or not. It seems like this Lamar Jackson thing's been kept pretty quiet,
Mhm.
but do you know where he's at? Like, is he going to play? Because it looks like Huntley is moving up on all these like waiver wire pickups on all these fantasy leagues.
Yeah, I mean, the last update that I saw was Harbaugh was still saying they're practicing as if Lamar is playing. What is Lamar bringing to the table with an high ankle sprain, low ankle sprain, ankle sprain? What is a mobile quarterback bringing to the table that can't be fully mobile? And it's off of I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's off of his planting foot too,
Hmm.
right? So if he's going to be throwing the ball, now you're planting on a weak ankle as well.
Well, that's the thing, right? And you have it's an NFC opponent, so there's no such thing as a good win. But this isn't one that can hurt you if you get into the race, into the wild card, or even if you're looking at tiebreakers. This is not going to affect your conference record. After this, it's only conference games left,
Yeah,
and
that's when they're going to get real important.
yeah, I think that they're going to wait. There's no motivation, but I mean Harbaugh is a bit of a fucking idiot, so we'll see what they decide to do. it's a home game. If you had your running game to protect him, I get it, but I'm not giving Freeman or Latavius Murray the keys to the car when you got Lamar Jackson banged up back there.
Yeah.
No way. And for those reasons, it's going to be a Packers.
Well, and their defense
Packers
is just
roll.
destroyed. Like we've talked about
Yeah.
their injuries they have, but now they have no secondary either. So they're really done in at this point. It's going to be really difficult with how tough the AFC is and what they've got left to do. You mentioned everything's conference after this, so they really got to start running the gauntlet here. There's no more off days if there ever was in the NFL. So, and I hate Harbaugh, so I'm going to love to see him itching in his chair. What's happening here? No playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just it. And look, that we don't have to beat the drum here. Packers win easy. Move on to a couple of head coaching opportunities that are opening up or potentially opening up. Obviously, this Urban Meyer one has just kind of become a shit show. Can you remember a bigger disgrace coming into the NFL and getting fired after the first 13 games? Has that happened before?
So disgrace about getting fired, no, but I can certainly think of another exit that was absolutely disgraceful. It was the last one that this happened that was similar to this, and well, similar, but bad's bad. It was Bobby Petrino. It was terrible. The way he left his players, how he left the team, the way he looked Arthur Blank in the face 2 days before his loss and said, "You got to coach for the season," and then quits 2 days later and pig suey that fucking evening. That was terrible. That was god awful. What Urban Meyer is, though, some of the bites, I don't know if you had the opportunity to read. So first and foremost, we talk about Vegas lines. The Vegas line over under on games before he was either fired, resigned, or whatever was 14.5. So it's officially a push in Vegas standards. This is crazy, right? I mean, you got that Lambo conversation, talk about getting kicked and the way that he talked to him like that. I can't think of a coach in the NFL, in current NFL, that would do something like that would act in that way, that would kick another player. Even half jokingly, it's just kind of weird to do something like that. These are grown men. I can't think of a guy that I would work with in my work life that I would, come on, man, do your job. Kicking somebody out. That's so stupid, right? What's the other one I saw here? Oh, yeah, him claiming about how he had a better coaching staff at Bowling Green. You guys are fucking terrible, he said. Like those kind of comments. There was Urban Meyer threatened to fire the coaching staff every week. There was there was already there was a mass among the Jags coaches. There was already talk of a max exodus / walkout in the season. Several already secretly, some and may not even secretly, already have jobs that are lined up for them. So even before Meyer was getting fired, they already had jobs at the end of the season they were taking off to. So it's terrible. I mean, it's Jacksonville all over again. I love watching a team in my division burn. I feel for Shad Khan because the guy's done absolutely nothing but try to put a competitive team on the field since he's bought that team. What other owner puts jacuzzis up in the stands that you can go rent out for the games, right? He's doing all he can to get fans in the stands. He's dropped big payrolls. He's been a free agent spender many years. It just never worked out, unfortunately.
Look, I mean, you're in Florida and you're nowhere near the beach. Like, you're out to lunch, pal. You're toast.
Yeah.
But when it really, like, you think of the Urban Meyer and you think of his career, I mean, we're not going back to Utah. We're not going back to Bowling Green, like you just mentioned. But look at the way he left the Florida program. And if you, like, they kind of had a couple guys there that got themselves into trouble, right? And clearly there was a little bit of help given by management in that situation, and running that the way that it was. Everyone knows the players that played in Florida. Mm-hmm. Not like we need to get too deep into that.
Well, and
the way that everything went down in Ohio State.
Yep.
Absolute disaster. I'm not sure if he's even welcome back on that campus.
Well, and a little bite from that too. I don't know if you know this story or not. Vrabel did coach. That's where he got his start, was coaching on Ohio State with Urban Meyer, right? I don't know if you know this, but apparently the rumor is that him and Urban Meyer actually almost went fisticuffs one time. He pushed Meyer up against the wall, something about don't belittle me in front of like what I'm trying to do in the coaching, whatever coach he was trying to do at the point of it, which kind of makes sense because this is the first time they really saw each other since he left Ohio State. And that handshake after that game that they just had, Urban Meyer wanted none of it. So, I mean, I might be kind of buying into this rumor that was planned. Like, this is an article from 2 years ago or 3 years ago anyway, but this is when Vrabel got first hired on as a Titans coach. This came out. So, well, yeah, I mean, Meyer's been doing it.
Yeah, that thing's wide open. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of candidates out there.
Who wouldn't want to go
Have you
there
heard
though?
about? Yeah, well, look, you got Trevor Lawrence, and you got a decent team. I actually, so I'll drop it right now. So I got our super boost that I'll put out right now because I think it's pretty topical to what we're talking about.
Okay.
We got the Rams by 2.5. We got the Washington football team in Philly under 47.5, and the Jaguars minus 6.5 against the Texans. I think that the boys
Ooh.
are going to come out. Daddy's away. The mice are going to play, and I think the Jaguars shit kick the Texans.
Well, I think isn't Davis Mills, isn't he starting again?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
he's their official starter there now. So,
Yeah.
um, but
Wow.
yeah, so maybe
That
we
could
got
be.
that. But
They got a lot to prove. I mean, I think they're going to come out with a big weight off their shoulders. That might be a good bet to take, Shane. You might be right about that. They might come out real like loose. You know what I mean? Just ready to have fun finally on the football field. Not worried about getting kicked at practice.
well, the worst thing that they can do is lose this game because if they lose this game, then it puts the owner and the GM looking at like, all right, which one? How many of these guys are we going to keep around? Like maybe we don't have the right core. If they come out and win, they know that it was the coach, and you can move forward. Now, what about this new coaching rule? It looks like it's a 1 year trial. That as of the second last week of the season, you're allowed to start interviewing head coaches. Have you seen this?
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I've never really, at the same time, as a guy who went through like the playoffs last year when you had like Arthur Smith interviewing the week before the playoff game. I don't know if I like shit like that. This allows that kind of to prevent things like that from happening, right? Get people ahead in the game. They don't have to deal with that shit. The players then nobody's ever said that out loud, but I'm sure players are thinking, I'm sure he's, preparing for whatever interview he's doing rather than the game that we're doing right now.
Right. Yeah, get that out of the way before the playoffs start, and like then when the playoffs start, you can focus.
Mhm.
Um, now, let's switch gears. We'll switch into NFL because it's bowl season. Bowl season starts tomorrow, runs all the way through until basically our 100th episode, which is going to be on January 10th, I believe.
Lovely.
Yeah. Now, big news for Jackson State yesterday. They landed the number 2 recruit in the country, and apparently there was 150 million reasons, or sorry, 1.5 million reasons why this guy decided to go to Jackson State. Now, Dion is already downplaying that, saying that that's not the reason, but money talks, right?
Yeah. I mean, there is something special brewing at Jackson State. We've mentioned this, right? There is something special about playing for a team that what they've done already in the first year, and Lane's mentioned it. There's something about a culture that's happening down there. The way that he preaches to the team and how
Well,
he coaches them.
yeah, the first thing I thought when I saw it, I was like, well, is this guy a punter? And he's not. So I knew that Lane was safe.
Yeah. And what is he going to like slot in there as? Is he going to be a wideout there, or is he going to be like one of those athletes?
No, I think that he's going to be a DB. I think that they're going to start him at corner, and they're going to see if they can transition him into being a safety. But I guess if you're a corner and
Yeah.
you're deciding between Florida State or Jackson State, and the Greenbacks look the exact same, do you want advice from Coach Prime or do you want advice from the 15th head coach in Florida State since the 2000s?
Yeah, and I mean, I
You
saw
know?
somebody comment about it, talking, oh yeah, well now he's going to a less competitive. This is not Division One, making all these comments, and then somebody chimed in and said, like, players still get found. It doesn't matter if this guy plays 4 years, 3 years there, and he goes to the draft. Players get found no matter what, and you're going to have a player every single draft that gets talked about. Well, they didn't play against top tier competition, and it ends up not always mattering. So if the kid can play, the kid can play. Tape just talks, right?
Well, so. Look, I mean, they're saying he's not going to get found. It's not Division One. This Jackson State South Carolina State game is on at noon on Saturday.
Mm,
They're going to get a little bit more prestige than this Coastal Carolina and Northern Illinois bowl game on Friday night,
yeah, you're right.
right? I mean, Jackson State's on ABC. Coastal Carolina and Northern Illinois are going to be on the Ocho.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, at the same time, when a kid that's the number 2 recruit is going to a team, he also knows that he's bringing a little bit of entertainment value to that team. They're going to get recognition. They're going to get TV spots now because they got players like that, and the ball gets rolling. The more that go there, the more
Yeah.
spots you're going to get, right? So Jackson State could be somebody that we start seeing on primetime Saturday afternoons on CBS, right? Or ABC, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I was going to break down some of the bowl games, but we're getting close on time, and there's another thing that I wanted to talk about. So I'll
Oh,
just
okay.
post our bowl picks into our socials for tomorrow because I got a couple that are actually starting tomorrow. Um, Debo is, or sorry,
Yeah.
uh, not Tebow. Dabo Sweeney. He was quoted saying that the name, image, likeness
Mm-hmm.
is creating more transfer portals and is starting to ruin college football. I want to know how you feel about that, especially since you just grabbed probably the biggest name that entered the portal this year so far.
Yeah. I mean, deal with it. Right? You were a competitive team for many years. Okay. There were certainly times that you took advantage of the transfer portal being where your team was at. With Trevor Lawrence was there were certainly players that wanted to go and play with him and take an opportunity to be on the primetime television networks. Deal with it. Adjust. You're in the ACC, right? Like you knew what you were getting yourself into when you go to coach there. Your team is not going to be competitive against teams within the SEC or even the most. You look at I know they're Texas A&M is not Big 12 anymore, but they're still Texas money, and that
SEC.
just shows like they're the number one recruiting class in I think that's like 5 of the last 12 years they've had the number one recruiting class. Money is there. Like that's you're not going to get it, unfortunately, playing up in the ACC. Find, maybe you should
Right.
talk to your team about moving out of the conference, and maybe you'll get that kind of talk, right? But at the same time, just coach. Make your team good enough that players want to go there. You just had Spencer. Now I don't think they need a quarterback right now, right?
No,
No,
they still have DJ, and as bad as he's been in comparison to Trevor Lawrence, he's not a bad quarterback.
no. I think there's a lot of pressure on him when you follow somebody like Trevor Lawrence, right? But you
Yeah,
like,
I
just
mean,
make your team
who was
competitive.
the
Make
quarterback that played at Tennessee
Peyton Manning.
after Peyton Manning, right? Like,
Oh, that's a good question, actually.
or not Chris Sims. Um, anyway, I think he ended up playing for Cincinnati Bengals, but you can keep going.
I don't even know where I was going to go with that anymore.
No, it was no, sorry. I think it was T. Martin.
T. Martin.
Actually, I think he ended up getting drafted by the Steelers. Can you look that up for us quickly? Who was the quarterback at Tennessee University after Peyton Manning? I'm pretty sure it was T. Martin. But yeah, no, I agree with you. And you know, the transfer portal, I think is a good thing, and especially a good thing for parity in the league, or in the leagues, I should say, because look at a team like Michigan State. Through
Yeah.
the transfer portal, they were able to go from winning 4 games in 2 years to being in the New Year's Six Bowl, which is going to lead us to a topic that we're not even going to be able to take a bite out of. Yeah, so it was T. Martin. Yeah, so it was T. Martin. And yeah, T. Martin was drafted by the Steelers, but look where he went. You know, I mean, sorry, what I was getting to. So the Michigan State built their team through the transfer portal. They're in the New Year's Six Bowl, but bad news came out today, and I don't know if you've seen this.
What's this?
Kenneth Walker, who is the nation's #2 leading rusher,
Yeah,
has
yeah.
decided to skip the bowl game to go to the NFL.
I didn't see he skipped the game. I did see that he announced that he was going to the draft. I must have missed that line about
So
him skipping the
I
bowl
mean,
game.
I knew he was going to go pro. There's no, you know what? Like he played for 2 years at Wake. He transferred over here to play in a pro style offense for a reason because he knew he had some talent. If you're a running back, there's not much of a reason to go back.
Okay.
Also, Michigan State kind of tipped their hand saying that he wasn't coming back because they went and got a big running back from Wisconsin in the transfer portal. But I don't know, man. Like I said, we're not gonna be able to dig too deep into this. But
Where do
he
you think
played all
Kenneth Walker
season.
lands? Because I do enjoy. I have watched a bit of film of him because I did want to have a talk about you with him a little bit more. Where do you think that he lands? Do you think that he isn't that top tier quarterback? And the running backs in the number 1 round don't happen very often anymore. We saw that, right? So does he fall to number 2? If he falls to number 2, how far in number 2 does he fall? I know Derrick Henry's an animal, but I really do think that we got to start looking at somebody else that can maybe play behind him. And Kenneth
Yeah.
Walker can ball out, and he can hit people like Derrick Henry can too, right?
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, the Kenneth Walker, he's not a first round pick. just because of like the sheer talent that's going to be out there on the defensive side and the offensive defensive lines. But he's probably a late second to early third. So
Ooh,
think of
enticing.
him in the range of like who like DK or JK Dobbins fell, and even Jonathan Taylor fell out of the first round. Like think of it something like that,
Hmm.
as opposed to like he's not going to be the Najee Harris pick. There's no, I don't think there's a single running back going in the first round.
No.
He's probably going to be one of the top 3 running backs taken, but like I said, that's probably looking at later in the second round. That'd be a good pick for the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, listen. It doesn't have to be Kenneth Walker. I do think that we need to get some sort of running back help there.
Yeah.
We are skirting by right now.
Yeah, I mean, the comparison for him would probably be like a Nick Chubb or something like that. And Nick Chubb was the late second round pick for the Brownies. So, that's probably good for us to sign off. Sorry,
Yeah.
Chad's phone died and that he wasn't able to finish this one off with us. But let's go enjoy a little bit of football. I know that I'll see you boys Saturday hopefully, and we'll pick things back up on Monday after a while.